Did you know about this? This is crazy.
Can you please give me my box?
If someone had told me that my so-called perfect marriage would collapse because of something I found inside my husband's car, I would have laughed and waved it off. But here I am, telling my story with my own mouth. And sometimes, I laugh so hard at the foolishness of it all that my neighbors think I've lost my mind. That day started like any other. I just wanted to pick something from my husband's car. You know, nothing dramatic, just my charger that he always steals. I opened the door, pushed the seat forward, and as I bent down to search, my fingers touched something small and smooth. I pulled it out, and my eyes widened. It was a protection, yes, that kind, sitting quietly under the seat like it was hiding from me. For a moment I froze. My brain refused to calculate. I said to myself, maybe it fell from the sky. Maybe angels now deliver these things to cars. But the more I stared, the more my heart pounded. My husband and I had been together for years. And let me just say this, he had no business carrying that around. Unless, oh my sisters, unless he was busy playing games outside. I sat there in the car, holding it like a piece of evidence in a detective movie. My head spun, my chest tightened, but somehow I still laughed. You know, the kind of laughter that comes from anger and disbelief at the same time. That was me, I said out loud. So this man has turned his car into a pharmacy shop, Abby. Before I go further, my dear sisters, let me pause here, please, I beg you. Subscribe to my channel Voices of Auntie Joy, because what I'm about to tell you next will make you laugh until tears come out of your eyes. And it will also shake your heart. You don't want to miss the rest of this journey with me. So subscribe now and follow this gist properly. Now back to the drama. I didn't confront him immediately. No, I told myself, Joy, don't be stupid. If you shout now, he will twist the story. Lie and say, oh, it's for my friend. It's not mine. You know how men can talk their way out of anything. So I decided to keep quiet and act like nothing happened. But inside me, I was boiling like hot water on a stove. That evening, he came home smiling like an innocent saint. He even kissed me on the forehead and asked what I cooked. I almost threw the pot at his head, but I smiled and said, just rice. Ah, my acting deserves an award. Nollywood should sign me today. I sat at the table, watching him eat. And in my heart, I was screaming, you thief, you betrayer, you think I don't know what you are doing behind my back. But I remained calm. My mind was already plotting. I said to myself, okay, my dear husband, since you want to play hide and seek, let me show you that women are smarter than detectives. I started planning to gather my evidence. That night, I lay beside him in bed, listening to his fake snores. My anger kept me awake, but I kept smiling, thinking, very soon, I will catch you red-handed. And you won't even know what hit you. And that was how the stage was set. The protection in the car was just the beginning of the end. If you think I went straight to drama and shouted the house down the moment I found that thing in his car, you don't know me, I am loud. Yes, but I am also cunning when I need to be. After my little award-worthy performance at dinner, I sat in the dark and thought like a woman who has watched too many soap operas and learned their tricks. I told myself, Joy, collect your proofs. Don't be the mad woman who cries without reason. So I started small. I checked his phone when he left it on the table, careful, like someone dusting for fingerprints. I didn't read everything like a crazy person. I skimmed. I watched the way his messages lit up and the words he typed when he thought I wasn't watching. There were lay tower chats, shorthand nicknames I didn't recognize, and emojis that felt like secret handshakes. Each little line made my mouth curve into a smile that did not reach my eyes. I saved screenshots like a hunter saving trophies. Then came the lies. He started coming home late and saying, work, my dear, meetings at midnight, meetings at 2 in the morning, meetings so important they never involved me. He began to smell different too, a perfume that didn't belong to me, and that scared me and made me laugh at the same time. I mean, who wears perfume to a meeting? This man was now very particular about smelling like a soap opera actor. I wanted to be dramatic, yes, but I wanted it to be clean. I told a friend what I suspected, and she whispered, set a trap. I loved that idea. I looked like the woman who forgave easily, but underneath, I was a spider weaving a web. My trap was simple and delightfully petty. I sent a message from a new number, an invitation to a fake event across town that would be impossible to get to quickly. I watched him get the message. I watched him fidget. Then I did the most delicious thing. I pretended to be away the next day. I told him I was visiting my sister, packed a small bag, and left early on purpose. Only I did not go to my sister's. I parked 2 streets away from the little cafe he liked and watched. I sat in my car and sipped the tea I had brought, making notes like a journalist. My heart was a drum, but my face was calm. I saw him walk in, my husband, the man who used to bring flowers for no reason, and sit with a woman whose laugh sounded like glass. They were close, too close, and when she leaned in, he smiled like a man who had been freed from his vows. My palms turned clammy. I wanted to run in, to grab him by the collar and make a scene. But I stayed planted. I needed perfection. I needed witnesses. When he left, I followed, but not like a stalker, like a queen reclaiming her throne. He didn't notice me at first. Then he stopped by a small side road and parked. I drove up, walked out like an angry customer who had found bad service, and marched to the driver's window. The woman was still in the passenger seat. My husband's face went pale, then red, then very small. He opened the door, stammered, and reached for excuses like a drowning man reaching for air. I unrolled the protection from my bag, the same kind I found under his seat, and flung it onto his dashboard as if it were the final evidence in a courtroom. "Explain this," I said, my voice steady but loud enough for them to hear. The woman shrank, the street filled with people turning their heads. My husband babbled about ownership, about "it's not what you think," about how he'd picked it up for someone. The lies were wet and slippery, but they could not hold. People took videos. Someone called out, "Is that your wife?" The woman's face crumpled like bad paper. My chest felt heavy but strangely light, the strange freedom that comes when the curtain falls and the show is over. I walked away with my head held high, and as cameras caught my silhouette, I thought, this is not the end, this is the beginning. By the time I got home, my mind had already moved on to the next act. The papers, the lawyer, the silence that says more than shouting ever could. But for now, I sat at my kitchen table, smiled a small victorious smile, and rehearsed what I would say when everyone asked me how I did it. The trap had worked, the truth was out, the rest would follow. After the cafe scene, something inside me unlatched. It was not the loud, angry woman you see in movies. No. It was quieter, like a door opening to a room you thought you'd lost. I came home with my head high and my steps measured, because when a woman decides she will not be played with, her walk changes. Neighbors waved like they were watching a new episode of their favorite drama show. Some whispered, some filmed. I smiled at them all like a queen who just reclaimed her crown. That evening, my husband tried everything. He called 100 times, sent messages that read like poor poetry. "Joy, please, it's a mistake," and even sent a voice note that sounded like a child pleading for candy. I listened to one, then two, then I deleted the rest. I wasn't cruel, I was calculating. You see, begging is noise. Action is what matters. I remembered all the times he promised, and didn't keep them. I remembered the nights I cried silently while pretending to sleep. And I remembered the little protection in the car. The irony of it sitting there like a dumb talisman that broke every lie. He came home that night like a man who had been caught stealing mangoes from a neighbor's garden. He begged at my door, hands shaking. He fell on his knees. Yes, he did the whole soap opera prostrate thing, while I stood in the doorway looking like someone who'd been through war and come out with new armor. He said, "Forgive me, I'll change." He promised the moon and even the stars. I almost laughed then. The sound would have been unkind. Instead I said softly, "Why should I believe you now?" He asked about the woman. He said she was foolish, that it meant nothing. The neighbors who had seen the videos moved closer like vultures expecting the next act. The woman got calls. People recognized her from the clip. She messaged me, crying and apologizing, telling me she didn't know he was married. I felt a strange pity for her, and then a quick flare of anger. Pity for the mistake, anger for the lie. I thought, if you came between us, you must understand that you did not only hurt me, you hurt a household, 2 families, and a future I had imagined. I did not want revenge, I wanted closure. The next morning, I walked into a lawyer's office like a woman who had rehearsed every sentence. The papers were ready, neatly printed, my name bold and certain. Signing them felt like signing a release from an old contract with pain. Each stroke of the pen was a small celebration. He tried to call, he came to the office, pleading in the hallway, like a child seeking forgiveness at school. The receptionist gave him no pity. He watched as I signed the last page. His face crumpled, regret and disbelief wrestling on his features. There were awkward conversations at church, and in the compound. Some people condemned me, others congratulated me. But the loudest sound was the one inside, my laughter. Not the hysterical kind, but a clean, surprised laugh that bubbled out because I had done something I once thought impossible. I chose myself. I bought a new padlock for my piece. I cleaned out his things and boxed them with calm hands. When I handed him the keys, he asked if I was angry. I replied, no, I am free. Freedom tasted like bitter cola and sweet sugar, strange yet good. I started small, a walk without him, a movie alone, meals at odd hours. I began to sleep without listening for footsteps. I cried when I needed to. I laughed when something was funny. A week later, I changed the curtains and the house looked different, as if the sun had decided to try a new angle. If there's one thing I want you to take away from my story, it's this: trust your gut, collect your evidence. But when the curtain falls, choose yourself. Don't stay for a promise that was broken before it was made. There is no shame in walking away from someone who treats you like a temporary guest in your own life. As for him, people will gossip. He will have to live with the memory of being exposed. As for me, I will live with the knowledge that I did not settle. I closed that chapter with a laugh, a tear, and a stamped paper that said, "It's over," and for the first time in a long time, I slept soundly, knowing I had nothing to hide and everything to look forward to.